One of the greatest privileges for any professional footballer is to play on the mighty MCG, and that dream becomes a reality 1 year in advance today for these top teenagers of this year's draft pool they take to Australia's Sporting Coliseum. It won't be easy. Their opponents are one of the best state league teams of the past 4 years. Good morning and welcome to the MCG for this annual tradition. It's this Australian under-18 lineup taking on the Casey Demons, which is the VFL affiliate side linked with the Melbourne Demons. Ben Waterworth with you for today's call as we have a look at the teams for Australia to start off with, the best underage talent in the country, and some familiar names that you'll notice there. Pickett, Mead and Anderson. Plenty more on those players right throughout the afternoon. Their opponents, the KC Demons, well, they have finished in the top 4 of the VFL ladder for the last 3 consecutive seasons, and today they'll have the service of some pretty handy names as well. None more handier than on the wing than Jeff Garlett, over 300 goals in the AFL and 178 games of AFL experience. Plenty to play for that team as well. But time now to introduce our expert for today's game, the guru of draft talent for the past 43 years, AFL talent ambassador Kevin Sheehan. Kevin, it's always a highlight this day.
Oh, it's a special day, Ben, and if you're one of the 26 boys wearing the Australian colours, it's extra special to wear them on the MCG and to be mixing with the best boys from every state and territory and try to show your wares to the AFL scouts while they're here in their numbers makes it pretty special, and the day is perfect for that.
It is absolutely perfect. Shifter, these are the best kids in the country, so it's hard to narrow them down on 5 to watch from Australia's perspective. We've given it a crack, though. Tell us a little bit about these 5 young guns.
Well, Matt Rowell, we can see him, the number 3. He'll be the boy with the ball in the hands. He's done that in the last 3 years that we've watched him come through. He'll play in the centre of the ground, so his stoppage work is exceptional. Dylan Stevens, probably across the wing. You'd think he's already playing some senior footy at Norwood. A very hard runner both ways, footy smarts. Are his feature. Jeremy Sharp, another one playing senior footy, this time in Western Australia for East Fremantle, an All-Australian last year. The blonde locks, lovely strider, beautiful kick of the ball. He'll stand out. Noah Ransedy, you mentioned him. He's a father-son, Dean Anderson, but of course not eligible for either Hawthorn or St Kilda, where he played about 80 games for each. But he's a prolific ball winner, and he's got unique ability around goal. And Luke Jackson, who less than a year ago was playing for Australia at under 17 level in basketball at a World Championship, so we've won his heart and mind as well.
Well, 12 months ago, we saw an explosive start to the Australia v North Melbourne VFL game. And how about these two names coming off the square? Sam Walsh and Connor Rosie have made an explosive start to their AFL careers, made this immediate impact.
Yeah, just have a look at Rosie as he gets the ball in his hands here. It's his vision, quick hands and vision, as he spots Walsh coming through from the centre of the ground. Sam Walsh, 2 strides, straight through the centre. It's all in about 20 seconds, and they're 2 young stars already.
Tom Morris, senior foxfooty.com.au reporter, is downstairs. You got a nice day for it, Thomas?
Oh, Benny, it's a beautiful day down here. 29 degrees, should make for really entertaining footy. Hey, let's talk about this Casey team, because 10 AFL listed players are part of this Casey team, and I want to talk about Austin McDonald first of all, and also Billy Stretch. McDonald has been selected at halfback. Billy Stretch had 12 touches last week against the Sydney Swans, but he's been dropped. They have 105 games between them. You mentioned Jeff Garlett. Hasn't he been a star for a long time? He had 18 touches and 3 goals for Casey last week. And Alex Neil-Bullen, he's been in some really good form as well, 13 tackles. Some others, Tim Smith, he's played 6 AFL games. He'll play 4 today. James Jordan, picked number 33 in last year's draft. I can't wait to see what he can produce. He's a Yarrawonga boy. Shifter tells me he's extremely silky. And Austin Bradkey, he's going to wear number 46, 204 centimetres. His mum won 2 Grand Slam titles in mixed doubles in tennis. And Mark Bradkey, he's an Australian Basketball Hall of Famer. It's going to be an absolute ripper, Benny.
Thank you, Tom. Beautiful day at the MCG. Just in readiness now for the start of this contest. Plenty of keen eyes from a recruiting perspective. Kevin will be on this game this afternoon and looking at the best underage talent in the country.
And expanding upon Rosie and Walsh, there's 9 that have now debuted from last year. We're only up to round 5, and Jackson Hately debuts today for the Giants, becomes the 9th. So it happens very, very quickly for the best of these young men.
So what a grand occasion this is for this Australian under-18 side. The dream is to play on the MCG and become a professional AFL footballer. They get a taste this afternoon in this clash for the AFL Commission Chairman's Cup, the All-Australian Under-18s versus the Casey Demons. We're underway. Whale Buxton, the big ruckman there for Casey, is there for the first hit out. Green immediately wrapped up. 25-minute flat quarters this afternoon, so no time on. Stretch immediately breaks away for the D's. Kick just falling short. Worrell was there, good on hands and knees. Hand pass just missed a teammate. Neil Bullen inside 50. Dangerous here for the Aussies, but a strong mark not paid in the end to Mackenzie. They're able to work the ball out via hands. Ash. Plenty of pace and dash from the back line, but he may have taken a few too many steps. The umpire's pinged him, and an opportunity here for Casey.
Well, he's noted Lockie Ash for his breaking the line's ability, speed, but on that occasion he just forgot to bounce it. But he'll be an exciting player. Just keep an eye on him. A boy from the Murray Bush Rangers, the Shepparton Bears, that has been in great form at NAB League level this year.
He's an AFL listed D. Tim Smith, being a shot for goal, played 6 AFL games for 4 goals. What a remarkable journey to the AFL list for Tim Smith. Good looking kick from Smith, the perfect set shot for Casey's first goal.
And you'd expect them to be up and about early as they do train together and play together. They had a great win last week at VFL level, whereas the Australian boys have been assembled on Wednesday. They've come from camps that have been run right across Australia in their various hubs, but have not worked together as a unit. I think they'll grow as a unit as the game goes on. They're passionate. They want to play for each other. They want to play selfless football for Luke Power, the coach. But it might take them just a few minutes to acclimatise.
Luke Power coaching the Australian side this morning, and for the Demons, Jade Rawlings, who was VFL Coach of the Year in 2018, taking Casey to a grand final against the Box Hill Hawks. Meeting the Demons this afternoon. Whale Buxton down a stretch, who was pretty clean at ground level. This is promising build-up for the D's already. A little searching kick out wide, finds Oscar Baker. Another AFL listed Demon. Will put the Australian defence under pressure. Gala in front couldn't take the mark, but they've got numbers at ground level. Good smother from Mackenzie. Young got it out to Mackenzie. Rowell applying the tackle. Heavily congested just outside that forward 50 umpire. Lets the play go though. Mackenzie get the hand pass out and finally some space. Now Ash this time remembers to bounce, and this is the speed you were talking about, Shifter, with a long searching kick towards half forward. The first time they've entered their forward 50, and look at the speed of Pickett. Like a unbelievable effort to kick towards goal, and he's just missed. Cozzy Pickett is an excitement machine.
Betty, we call it the X factor sometimes. We call it their point of difference, their competitive advantage, whatever it is. You're looking for something special. Well, we saw that with Ash and Pickett all in the one play then. They've both got breakneck speed. Pickett, well, he's the nephew of Byron, and he's lived with Byron at different times as he's mentored him on his footy. And he's a powerful little player, only small, but the way he puts pressure as a small forward on his opponents is something that we look forward to today, as well as that speed.
The kick looked pretty good off the boot, just drifted left just at the wrong time. But Pickett from Woodville, West Torrens in South Australia, he kicked 6 goals in round 1 of the Sandful reserves. So he's coming into this game with good form. Stretch getting his hands on the ball early for the Demons. Baker inside 50, just over his head. Will Gould, the captain for this afternoon's game for Australia, looking for the pinpoint pass. Thumped away though from the Aussies. Young tracks it back. He's taken out of bounds.
And you mentioned Will Gould. Well, again, he's played some senior footy at Glenelg and hasn't missed a beat down back. Another of the boys that has won All-Australian honours as a 17-year-old last year.
So Young just was held as that ball went out of bounds, so he's got himself a free kick. Pickett will fly from the side, as was Jecker. Ball comes towards Kemp. Just fumbled the ball at the wrong time. And again, Stretch is involved early. And a good kick as well. White takes the mark and wastes no time. Beautiful ball movement from the Demons, and Jackson Briggs with an opportunity to kick his team's second goal. Jackson Briggs from Narry Warren. 21 years of age. Played 6 games last year for Casey, but like a lot of VFL listed players at Casey struggled to get into the side with so much depth across the Melbourne and Casey lists. For his side, second goal. Works back late, but not enough. And their first minor, the Demons. The two teams playing for the AFL Commission Chairman's Cup, both the best players on the ground from each team will also receive the MCC President's Medal as well. Keep an eye on the best performance this afternoon, and again that slick ball movement finds into the way of Declan Keelty, and loose checking from Australia inside 50 will give the Demons yet another set shot on goal.
James Jordan was the one that set that up, the number 23. He was, of course, taken in the 30s by Melbourne in last year's draft. A boy from, well, he was at Caulfield Grammar, Yarrawonga boy originally, that will start to play some great footy late in the year with the Oakley Chargers and played in the grand final of the under-18 competition last year.
This is Mitch Lewis. Came out of the Dandenong Stingrays program a couple of years ago. That's a lovely looking set shot. So a really positive start for Jade Rawlings and the Demons. We're talking pre-game about Sam Walsh and Connor Rosie shifter. They played in the game last year, but there's plenty of other fantastic performers from corresponding games in previous years. We're talking about pre-game Angus Brayshaw, now at the Demons, and Lockie Whitfield also winning best on ground medals. It really is a great opportunity for these players to put their names up in lights.
Yeah, of course the system's changed a bit over the years. In Lockie Whitfield's year, he was a bottom age player.
Yeah.
He was a boy not eligible for the draft that year and was best on the ground in a win over Box Hill, the VFL team. And it was a tight contest too, and we knew we'd seen a star the way he had played that day as a bottom ager. Angus Brayshaw, he did it all in his best on the ground performance at under-18 level for the Australian side. The element I hadn't seen with Angus at that point was him standing on their shoulders. Well, he stood on their shoulders a couple of times. We knew he's a prolific ball winner and great user, but he did it all and showcased his great ability.
Mentioned Lockie Whitfield beforehand. Dubbed one of the best players in the game. His recent form for the Giants. So free kick here for the Demons, going the way of Aidan Quigley. Risky kick, but just finds Freeman. 23rd man for Casey this afternoon. Stretch. Disposal number 5, that is for Billy Stretch. He's had a fast start. This ball movement is proving hot to handle for this Australian defence. Garlett tries to create something. In the end, Bianco cool and composed. And Sarong, strong above head, keeps his feet. Now able to bring it away. One-on-one here over the head of Delahunty. He's got 3 Demons to beat. Pickett arrives late for some support. Keelty retreats, then goes up towards half forward. Jackson, former basketballer, on hands and knees, tries to gain some territory for Australia. They'll be pretty happy with the ball up just inside the centre square.
But it's an interesting mix with the Australian boys. The boys, we've mentioned some from SAW, have already played senior footy against the men, the bigger bodies, and some of the boys from Queensland, New South have played in the NEFL at senior level. Most of the Victorians, it'll be their first go against the mature bodies. So it'll take them a little while to adjust to that and hopefully show their great natural talent as it unfolds.
Not paid to Di Pasquale. They bring it in ball, but a push in the back is paid, and will be a free kick going the way of Australia. Bianco starting to get involved in the game. Here's Flanders. Very promising performance for Vic Country in the under-18 game last year on this venue, Sam Flanders. His kick will be thumped out of bounds, but there's plenty of players for the Australian side shifted this afternoon that played in the under-18 side last year and impressed a lot. 3 All-Australians, as you mentioned, off the top. So they come in already with some plenty of credits in the bank.
Yeah, many of these boys would have been out here on the MCG Grand Final Day. We now have a futures game. The best 17-year-olds in the country will play. Last year it was Team Revolt versus Team Bartel. Divided up fairly evenly to give them the taste of it. So, and then current form comes right into it. So a boy like, Nick Bryan didn't play in that game. The big ruckman, the big blondie. He's unfolded this year. He gets into the side as the selectors adjust it to the best current players, 18 years of age at this moment.
Perfect opportunity to try and get their first goal. Neil Bullen brought down in a tackle. Another stoppage inside that forward 50. .12-point lead at the moment for the Demons. Jecker doing the ruck work. Rush kick out. Was that touched off the boot? It was, so it'll just be a boundary throw in. Deep inside this forward 50 for Australia. Of course, this is a curtain raiser game. We've got a game coming up on Fox Footy this afternoon. Melbourne and St Kilda as well. Just both teams feeling each other out early stages, but holding the ball. Free kick umpire has relented here, and the Demons will be able to finally get some clear space to bring this out of defence.
Other way.
Oh, other way. They've just reversed it. It was originally going to Munro, but O'Neill's been paid the free kick. Hands it off quickly. Anderson, how good first look at him. Not his best finish, though, out of bounds on the full. But Noah Anderson, the son of Dean Anderson, a dual premiership Hawk, but he played 80-odd games for Hawthorn and 60-odd games for St Kilda, so he isn't father-son eligible for either of those clubs, Shifter, which is, I suppose, a bit frustrating for those clubs.
How did he get away from the Hawks, we wonder? Yeah, look, that's a terrific mark, isn't it?
It's Dylan Williams. In the pack was Brian, who probably got a little bit higher for Australia, but Williams has kept his feet and now goes deep inside 50. They're peppering at the moment, Australia. The D's defence gets back. They'll be wanting some reward for effort here, Australia. The ball's been knocked in their forward half for the past 4 or 5 minutes.
And Dylan Williams' X factor is his marking. No surprise to see that. That was a special mark. We've seen him come out of the goal square as a marking forward, kicked bags of goals in the TAC competition as it was last year as that forward, but he can also play across half back. So his future position's not really known at this point, but he's about a 186 centimetre mark player and versatile.
Brodie Kemp boarding at Geelong Grammar this year, Brodie, representing the Bendigo Pioneers in the new NAB League. Well, Buxton, definitive double tap forward. Baker got a hand pass out. Anderson, plenty of skill and class there, but just lost control at the wrong time. Smith hands it back, immediately ran into trouble, and now an opportunity for Australia. Kick has been chopped off though by Vella at half back for Casey. Baker. Baker will get it back, running out of defence. I just want to try and open it up here with the Demons. That kick might be chopped off. Delahunty dropping back, but just dropped the mark. And here's Oscar McDonald. A great first disposal from him. Just went over his head. Di Pasquale tracking back. Good hands from Ash to feed it out. Marnie was in there as well, but free kick going the way of Australia, and they want a quick inside 50 opportunity here. Anderson got the hand pass, but stolen by Jeff Garlett. How many times have we seen that over the years? Both Melbourne and Carlton. Gives it off to Stretch. A big one-on-one here at the back. Strong mark taken by Declan Keelty. And when they're inside 50, Casey, they've been very dangerous early. And now an opportunity for Anthony Vella, who passes it off. And the Demons causing a bit of mayhem inside that forward 50. There. Again, Lewis looking to try and pass it off, but this time he'll settle.
And that's something the Australian boys will get used to, is the use of body. Once you start to play against the bigger bodies, who've got probably 10 kilos on you, they will nudge you under the footy. You've got to be able to hold your ground strongly if you're in the front position, back strongly, hold your ground, rather than get sort of nudged slightly under it.
Kick just falls short now. Good strong mark. Taken deep in defence. The Aussies.
That's Worrell.
Josh Worrell taking the mark. Off to Ash, but he put his teammate under a lot of pressure. 3 Demons converge on the ball. Hand pass came out. Young applying the tackle along with Bianco for Australia. They'll be pretty happy to see a ball up because their defence has been under siege for the majority of this contest so far.
And Worrell is the guy that took that very good contested mark down in the goal square. They're a left footer, a boy from Halbury College that's being mentored a little bit by Matthew Lloyd. They've had a great record down there at Halbury. They provide the boys for the NAB League as well for both Sandringham and Dandenong. And Worrell's a boy that we've seen regularly take those sorts of intercept marks across half back. But he's also played up on the wing at different times, so his future position is probably not known, but he looks to have some elite talent.
Well, after getting the ball from row A, McCaffrey goes inside 50. Kilty was there. Young able to pick up the crumbs, and now they can finally work it out of defence. Here's Jeremy Sharp, the Western Australian, with a bit of run off half-back, and this is promising. Rowell back towards Sharp on the wing. Dangerous kick inboard. Didn't really look as he wanted to kick that ball. It's been chopped off by Munro for the Demons, and it might prove costly. Lewis has some space on the outer side for Casey. Retreats back. Nice kick inboard as well. Aiden Quigley, who was in the under-18 system not too long ago. Chopping it off though, Matthew Rowell. A big chance for pick one this year, Matthew Rowell with the intercept mark. Jackson Mead, son of Darren Mead. There's Port Adelaide players out there. He is eligible to be taken as a father-son selection.
And Jackson, amongst his credits in his background, was best on the ground in the SA Under-18 Grand Final last year, winning the Alan Stewart medal for that performance. A great contested ball winner. There he is giving it off again.
Retreats back. Mackenzie was able to kick Tom Green on the outer side. He's a Giants Academy prospect, Tom Green. Big ball magnet as well. Lots of contested ball and clearances. Big fly from Jecker, wasn't able to bring it down. Pickett applying the pressure again. Pickett then stole it out of his opponent's hands. He couldn't quite get clear though. The ball up right in the logo. He's shown some flashes of brilliance early. Cozzy Pickett. Took a fantastic screamer in that game in round one of the Sanford Reserve. Not only kicked 6 goals, but he flew high. Video that went pretty viral around South Australia. Now Rowell gets some space and ample confidence, tucks it under the arm, goes towards goal. This would be pretty special from Matthew Rowell.
Well, he backed himself there, didn't he? To have the yard of pace necessary to get away, and then the steadiness and composure to finish from around the 50 mark. He's a goal-kicking midfielder, this boy. The first time we really saw him at the national level was at under 16 level, had 34 possessions and kicked 4 goals playing midfield. So he's been a young star for 3 years.
Well, good to have access this afternoon to Brad Johnson, familiar face on Fox Footy, working with the Australian under-18 side this afternoon. Brad Johnson and Tom Morris downstairs.
You're on the other side now, Jono. Tell us about this start. Good first goal.
Yeah, it was. A bit of a settler, I think, for the boys. They've actually played pretty well, and we're only a goal down now. So, yeah, it's been physical. I think getting used to that in the first 5 or 10 minutes, and now they've actually sort of started to take a little bit of control back. So it's been positive.
So what's the focus for these boys before the game? What are you looking for?
Try and outnumber at the contest. Melbourne will do that really well, and obviously just try and energise the ball, get it going, attack, play to their strengths, and that's the main thing that Luke delivered to the boys.
So there's a few AFL games between this coaching panel. Tell us who you got.
I've got Lee Brown coaching the forwards, Boomer Harvey, games record holder. He's doing the mids, and he's actually out there trying to help develop the boys as well, doing the running duties. And Luke does a great job. One of the best I've seen in terms of that development of young men.
And what's your role?
I'm taking the back, so it's a bit of a new role for me, Tommy. But the boys have started really well. It's part of that development. But a couple of good boys, and I think Worrell's been really good in the early stages of this game, taking a couple of good marks and being quite good in the contest.
Good. We'll chat to you later in the game.
All right, thanks, Tommy.
Thank you, gentlemen. Not sure how much time Brad Johnson spent down back in his 370-odd game career at the Western Bulldogs. Always learning in the AFL industry. Promising build-up again from Australia. Baker there taking the mark down back for the D's. That's a dangerous kick inboard just over Delahunty's head. Jecker tracking back as well for Australia. Butterick was there, as was Young. Aiden Young brought down number 16 for Australia. And it's a great weekend for the Young family. Hayden playing on the MCG this afternoon, and tomorrow his brother Lockie is debuting for the Western Bulldogs, and that's a wonderful story.
It was a great moment just at the jumper presentation the other night for the Australian boys that they showed a bit of vision of Luke Beveridge announcing Lockie Young as being one of 2 Bulldogs playing his first game to the senior playing group, and that was put up on the big screen. Lockie was there supporting his brother, so it was a great moment for the family.
There's Will Martin just copping an elbow on that occasion from Tom McCaffrey. He's been taken off with the blood rule, the Brisbane Lions Academy prospect. He'll be back out there pretty soon. Green to Bianco, feeding all the way back to Williams. Now Hayden Young, we'll just talk him out off half-back. It's a beautiful kick. Free kick will be paid to Jekka. Too far out to score, but he's got a bit of an open forward 50. Searching lead from Delahunty. Thumped away from him. They have numbers here. Australia. Flanders is great around goals. His dribble kick just squeezes through for a minor. He's a promising prospect. Sam Flanders from the Gippsland Power.
He's a compact player too, is he? Very powerful player. A bit of Christian Petrarca about him. So thick, strong through the body, low centre of gravity, and had the acceleration right then to just get that step in that allowed him to get the kick away toward goal.
Kick straight down the corridor from Casey through to Bianco. And now Mead inside 50. Chopped off though by the D's. That was White taking the mark. Here's Oscar McDonald off half-back for the D's. Good decision as well to spot up a teammate in Ghent, who goes looking for Neil Bullen, who's got the sick, clever tap over the top, tries to put it towards Lewis's advantage, and he was dumped without the ball, and Lewis has a prime opportunity to kick his second goal, thanks to some clever play from Alex Neil Bullen. Plays on straight away. Lewis, he's got 2. The Demons have 3. Showing their ascendancy, their strength inside 50. Good to see Neil Bullen up and about after being collected. Will Gould going in very hard. I was saying off camera just beforehand, Shifter, that Will Gould is one of the oldest looking 18-year-olds you've ever seen.
He's such a solidly built player, isn't he? But again, we mentioned he'd won All-Australian honours last year. He's captain today. Wonderful recognition for his form in the last 12 months. And that includes playing very well at senior level in the Sandford competition at the start of this year for Glenelg.
2 goals for Mitchell Lewis. To see him out there, 2017, he suffered 2 really serious knee injuries. And he's back out there for Casey. They're making an impact on the MCG. Dumped in a big tackle, but illegally according to the umpire. Matthew Rowell. That awesome first goal for Australia. Now they go inside 50. McDonald worked off his man. Was able to bring the ball to ground. Good tackle applied though. Flanders, second time lucky. Sam Flanders with a lovely snap, and he gets his side's second goal.
Can you go back to Brad Johnson mentioning that one of the strong messages from Luke Power prior to the game was to energise the ball, and that's what Matt Rowell did at the centre bounce. Keep it moving, use your pace and your quick reflex. You're going to be a lot lighter than your opposition. You're not going to win the contested ball necessarily as much as you try to with the right technique, but that's a great finish from Sammy Flanders.
Already kicked 1 goal so far in the NAB League. He gets his first this afternoon. Tom Morris downstairs. What do you got?
They're just strapping up Will Martin's head now. He should be okay to come back on. He was bleeding pretty heavily above his right eye. He's going to look like the mummy when he comes back on, but he should be fine to play.
Tom, there is Will Martin on screen, attached to the Brisbane Lions Academy. Did play a NEFL game for the Lions last year, Will Martin. He's coming off some excellent form. Last week against the Eastern Rangers in the NAB League, he had 34 disposals, so I want him out there pretty quickly. Good smother from Rowell in the middle of the MCG. Fed out by Kemp. Bianco just fumbled at the wrong time, allowed the Demons to come through. They're retreating here, Australia. It's all thanks to this Demons pressure. Lewis in there again. How did he get rid of it? Well, he didn't get rid of it. That's why the umpire's paid holding the ball, and Young will be the recipient.
He's been impressive to date, Hayden Young across half-back. A wonderful intercept mark and normally a great user of the footy. They're the 2, I suppose, X factors that he has.
Sarong's kick just chopped off at the wrong time, and this is where the D's can get you on the counter-attack. Stretch inside 50. Well, he had 2 options, and it didn't really go to either of those players' advantage. And a big, strong tackle from Gould again, asserting his authority down back for Australia, along with Hayden Young. There's Austin Bradkey adding a bit of Will Gould, the captain, leading from the front and by example. Last 30 seconds of this first quarter. Bradkey allowed to take it out of the ruck. Neil Bullen keeps it in, hoping for stretch, holding the ball. Didn't get rid of it legally, according to the umpire. Well played by Connor Butterick on that occasion for Australia.
Connor Butterick is a boy from the Gold Coast Suns Academy and has been in very good form in the NAB League to date this year. Also had some senior games for the Gold Coast Suns in the NEFL competition.
Well, after conceding the first 2 goals, Australia fighting back late in that first quarter, really taking it up to Casey on the MCG this afternoon. It's the Demons leading Australia by 5 points at the first charge.
Should he be the #1 pick?
Oh, yeah, he's a very good player.
Who's he play like?
Joel Selby.
No pressure?
Nah.
Now, Matt, are you going to return the compliment here? Because Noah's thought as a top 5 prospect as well.
Yeah, I think he's a really good player, really good inside and outside. And
Who?
Oh, maybe 5 or something like that.
Nice.
No pressure, gents. Matt Rowell and Noah Anderson putting each other under the pump. They've both had pretty good starts to this game here at the MCG. All Australian under-18s taking on the Casey Demons. Casey leading by 5 points, but have those nicknames stuck during the week, Shifter?
Well, there's an attempt by Luke Power to get them to stick anyway. The boys will call them, well, jolly and a bit of fifey the next day, but all in good fun. There's no doubt that these boys all... well, they've got role models in the AFL. It doesn't mean that they're thinking they're as good as them, but they've got some of their traits. They play in a similar position. You have to have those guys in your mind as role models if you're going to get through and play.
Well, great to have access to the Australian coach address at quarter time. Let's have a listen to Luke Power.
Let's go. In tighter.
Really good start. Really good start. Did we know it was going to be physical early? Yeah. There's a lot of numbers around the ball. Okay. The footy that we generally play is not too much like that. Okay, you've handled it really well. Boyce Jackson, I reckon you set the scene when you drop back into that hole. Okay? Mids need to get up and help the backs, okay? Forwards need to get up to a place of mids so that we can fill those leading lanes. Okay, the only thing that's cost us a couple of times is just our composure. Okay? If you've got a shot at goal and you're 40 out, take the shot. Okay, steel yourself, take the shot. Backs, don't overuse deep inside 50. Get it out long and wide, okay? Because what will happen is they'll keep coming forward and we'll put ourselves under pressure. Okay? You going all right? Yeah. Yep. I reckon we're going really well.
Well, he's a man who knows a fair bit about this ground, Luke Power. Won 3 premierships with the Brisbane Lions back in the early 2000s, and great for the players Shifter to have access to a player of his quality.
And of course ended his career with the Giants as one of their assistant coaches, working with a young group there as an on-field coach in effect, as he went past 300 games and now putting in an enormous amount to coach the next generation of players right around Australia.
So almost time for the second quarter from the MCG. It is a perfect afternoon for football. Both teams loving the opportunity to play on the grand stage. Jackson in the ruck, but beautifully done by Wale Buxton. Clever tap behind his head. Sets Smith alight. Now the back line towards Lewis. Great half volley gathered from Lewis, who kicked 2 goals in that first quarter. Neil Bullen, another step just inside. A little bit of composure. Excellently done. Brings it inboard to McCaffrey. Reasonably open forward line for the D's here. Dropping back. Keelty couldn't quite take the mark. Baker tries to put it towards Stretcher's advantage. He's wrapped up by Matthew Rowell, who kicked that awesome goal in the first quarter, but he also had 6 touches in that first quarter, Shifter.
And look at some of the other possessioners. Bianco across half-back with 7 disposals. Hayden Young with 6. Ash with 4 as well, and Mead with 4 were the best of the Australians.
Kemp going in hard, tries to feed it out. Rowell again on lurking around that stoppage.
And for the Casey Demons, Billy Stretch with 8. Oscar Baker with 6. And McCaffrey with 6 were the leading possession winners.
25-minute flat quarters in this game. This Australian squad mainly picked by yourself, Shifter, along with Luke Power and a couple of other recruiters as well. Assembled a fine outfit to take on the Demons, and pretty happy, as we heard from Luke Power at quarter time, with what they were able to do in the back half of the first term just to get themselves back into the game. Able to force a stoppage on the outer side.
we work in closely with the clubs. The clubs have a major say in this. We'll coordinate it, listen to their views, and they want to see those that they believe that they've got some AFL potential on this big stage. It's just one of the ways in which they analyse. It's not the be-all and end-all, but gee, you'd love to get a tick from the club recruiters today with a good solid performance, but it sets you up for the national championships. You'll come back in June when they kick off playing for your state, and then it's full on. So this is a learning curve, a development phase in their careers, and as we said earlier, the form from this does tend to hold up.
Stretch goes long inside 50, and Aussie's just lost Tim Smith on that occasion. Just read the ball better off Stretch's kick, and Smith can have an opportunity to kick his second goal. I did fear that his AFL career might have been over a couple of years ago, Tim Smith, when he had a stress fracture in his navicular. Back out there for the D's. It's his task ahead of him. Not his best finish as well. A couple of let-offs here for Australia. There is Jade Rawlings coaching the Demons this afternoon. 148 games, 96 goals with Hawthorn, the Bulldogs and North Melbourne. Also coached Richmond for half a season. Oh, superb intercept mark coming across there from Luke Tynan, who had an excellent first term. He's been a VFL veteran for quite some time.
And a best and fairest winner at Port as well.
Yeah.
Yes, so it's great to see those sorts of players still playing at the highest level other than AFL here in Victoria, playing in the VFL.
Scintillating ball movement from the Demons. They took it from one end to the other. Lovely left foot kick from Garlett to find Declan Keelty. He can have his first attempt at goal. On Melbourne's list, has been thrown around quite a fair bit in his first few years with Casey in terms of back in the ruck at times, playing forward predominantly this afternoon. Just trying to figure out where he best serves his side. Good looking set shot kick from Keelty, and he gets the first of this second term. This ball movement from halfback from the Demons. Jeff Garlett, normally right foot kicker, but doing his best on the left as well. And Keelty's a great example, Shifter, of a player who's taken as a mature age pick, that it's not the be-all and end-all for these players this afternoon for the under-18s. It's not the be-all and end-all if they don't get drafted at the end of the year. There are other ways to get into the AFL system.
Benny, I think 20% of players will come through at a later age, other than 18 or 19 when they're in the showcased at national level. So 20% will come through from 20 right up to, well, James Podsey Adley set the bar for that when he debuted about 28, 29 a few years back. So anywhere in the 20s there, if you're good enough, the clubs think you're good enough, they'll put you in. A new element this year, we've got a mid-season draft too, so will a 22 or 3 or 4-year-old player be picked up then if he's not currently listed? That will play out in May and June as well.
Here's an opportunity for the Australians. Bianco with another disposal. Hits up Emerson Jekka. And the Western Jets.
Interesting player, Jekka, 197 centimetres, a boy of just 18 years of age. He's presented well today, hasn't taken too many marks, but has presented and been competitive in the air, brought the ball to ground a number of times and rewarded then with a very good pass from Bianco.
McDonald took the intercept mark for Casey to Stretch to Munro, vice captain for Casey. McDonald again. Jordan. Ball movement again along the outer side. Jackson Briggs taking the mark. His brother also out there this afternoon, Heath Briggs. Just chopped off there. Jekka able to get a fist in there and halt the momentum. Hilty got a hand pass out now. Baker for Smith. Didn't have a lot of idea what was behind him. Dangerous here. Young v Garlett. What an opportunity this is for Young. Just edged Garlett under the ball, ensuring he didn't have a good run at it. And it goes through for a minor. That's the opportunity for these players this afternoon. Kevin Hayden Young, potential pick one a little bit later on in the year, has the opportunity to play on a guy who's kicked over 300 AFL goals.
Yeah, and he's that type of player that can handle the smaller player or the medium. He won't play in the big tall forwards, but Hayden Young, in fact, won the AFL Life Members Award that's given to one player a year from around Australia. It was given to Sam Walsh the year before. The likes of Joel Selwyn have won that award, and Hayden Young won it last year to help him with his education. We need to have balanced young men coming through.
Just see here, Luke Jackson just been taken out there by Wale Buxton. Looks like the umpire has taken his number as well, Wale Buxton. Good to see Jackson up and about to take his kick, but a bit clumsy there from the Demons ruckman from Vermont and the Eastern Rangers. So, Wale Buxton in the book. Luke Jackson will receive the free kick. Quite remarkable that 12 months ago, Jackson was running around averaging a double-double for Australia. The under-17 for the World Cup has chosen footy. He's got a good opportunity to show what he's worth this afternoon. Big fly over the top. No mark taken on that occasion. Like came from Anderson. But right in front of our boundary rider this afternoon, Tom Morris, who's alongside Brad Johnson.
Yes, Brad Johnson, who just had the ball come down here for a couple of seconds. Yeah, tell us about Will Gould. Impressed with him early on in defence.
Yeah, I think he's been really good. He's working off his man at the right time to go and support his teammates. I think it's good. He's got that physicality in his game, and he's used it quite well coming out of the back half. So he's had some one-on-one battles. He's won them, which is really pleasing.
Now, we spoke about Garlett pre-game for Casey. He's kicked 300 AFL goals. How are you dealing with him today?
Oh, it's always a challenge, isn't he? He's such a good player, especially when he gets up in that speed coming back through the contest. So he's trying to do that. We've been able to control him. I think Connor Buderick's done a really good job so far. He's off the ground, so now Youngie's got a chance. He's just got the handball then. So it's, there's challenges all over the park for these young men, but they're standing up at the moment. It's really positive.
How hard is it to be positive about what they're doing, but also tell them when you need to tell them that they're doing the wrong thing?
Yeah, no, that's part of it, of course. Yeah, they've got to learn. You've got to learn, and sometimes you learn the hard way, but you've got to be honest in terms of what feedback we give them so that they can get better as players. And people, that's the most important thing.
Cool, thank you.
No worries, Tommy.
Thank you to Tommy and Brad Johnson upstairs. We'll be hearing from Jono a little bit more at halftime and throughout this afternoon's broadcast. Garlett, heavily done. The hand pass back to Quigley. A good kick, just short. Now here's Austin Bradkey. His first good look at it, and it's a nice kick as well, just over the top, finding a teammate in Mitch Gent.
And Bradkey will be interesting. We're going to watch him, Melbourne supporters, for the next number of years. He's only had a handful of games. He can play in the NAB League for the Dandenong Stingrays. Has played a couple of games already this year as a 19-year-old because he is learning the game. But he's a wonderful size boy, unique at 204 centimetres, 6'8".
As Gent's kick just goes right to the line and thumped through for a minor. But it is a bit of a win for football and for the Demons in particular. Bradkey was playing state basketball level this time last year and was courted by a few clubs. Geelong in particular gave him a really interested in him as an interceptors forced here by the Demons. But good opportunity that Bradkey's given the Demons, and they can try and develop him and take him as far as they can.
Yeah, so all the clubs have got up to 3 what are called Category B list positions available to experiment players out of alternate sports, players that have not played a game of football for 5 years, Irishmen, Americans, whatever. So just from left field, and I think there's 26 Category Bs across the competition right at this minute.
Jackson Briggs, his first attempt at goal. And goal umpire barely moved. Lovely finish from Jackson Briggs. Casey have the first couple of goals in this quarter. 2 goals, 3. Aussie's yet to score. Kick coming out of defence, just costing Australia at that time. And Luke Power at quarter time was talking about that their endeavour has been fine, but it's just their composure that's cost them a couple of times, Shifter.
Yeah, I think the AFL's got a wider agenda here. These boys have only come in for a few days, but they've expanded their program to give 150 boys more in-depth coaching and opportunities over summer, rather than just keep an elite 30 together to prepare for maybe this game and do a fraction better in terms of performance. They've opened the door to far more. So these boys have only just come together a couple of days ago, and you'll see that they're not as polished as a group as maybe the group last year.
Brian in the ruck, nicely done, down to Anderson. Will Martin has changed jumpers. He was number 9, now he's number 23 after that blood rule. Looking up towards half forward, Mead 1-on-1 with Garn for the Demons. Jekka arrives to try and give some support. He's with Kilty. They won out of bounds in the full, Australia, but not according to the boundary umpire. It'll be tossed back in. The under-18 players did receive their jumpers from pick one of last year and recent Rising Star nominee Sam Walsh during the week. It's a great thrill for those players. They've been spoken to by quite a number of big names throughout the week. Kevin Sheedy also had a word to them during the week, Shifter.
Yes, out at Essendon for their first training run, and the legend was there, Sheeds, and getting ready for, I think, Anzac Day, but was very willing to come in. He'd never short of a word, give a little bit of advice to these boys, and he was fantastic. One of the great promoters of the game, one of the great coaches. And, of course, we forget that he was a fantastic player for Richmond prior to his Essendon stint. And, of course, helped develop the Giants to be, well, they're a powerful club now, and did a great job in assembling that initial group. Many of them had come through this particular program. Sheedy focused on that and selected many of them in the initial squads of the Giants.
Here's Roses, pushing the back was Malcolm Roses, and they'll take the advantage. Mead, beautiful kick inside, 50, pinpoint pass for Jekka, who just did enough to hold on the mark, but that's promising for Port Adelaide fans. Jackson Mead with a sensational kick for Emerson Jekka, who will have his first opportunity for goal. Trained with Essendon during the off-season, and that's a tradition that's been going for quite some time. Shifter is best talented under 18 players in the country, having some work experience at AFL clubs during the off-season, as Jekka has an opportunity to kick Australia's first goal of the term. Hung it out well to the right.
Yeah, the Academy's been going for 22 years, in fact, so over that period, that's one of the advantages of being in it, that you'll get a week or two at an AFL club to get a sense of what might well be ahead of you. Again, that's been expanded to all of the boys that played in the Futures game on the MCG last year. About 50 boys now get that opportunity rather than 30. So Jekka had that chance with the Bombers.
Sharp inside 50, beautifully crumbed by Mead. Jackson Mead needs a kind bounce. He needs the off break. Instead, he got the top spinner and went through for a minor. The son of Darren Mead, who was Port Adelaide's inaugural best and fairest in its first AFL season in 1997. Played over 100 games, so he is eligible to be taken by the Power. Jackson Mead this year. Well done by Bryant. Back to Rowell and Young, who combined for a rare disposal, respectively, in this second term. A high kick and easy pickings for the D's down in defence. Luke Tynan with a strong mark. McCaffrey. Kilty. Lined up in a grid at the moment, this Australian under-18 defence. So they'll bring it towards the outer side. Flanders thought about going, but Jordan had enough time in the end. McDonald starting to get his hands on the ball. Flanders arrives late. They've just done enough to put him off. Bradkey, good contest in the Category B Demon. And he applies a tackle to force a ball up. Been a D's fan all his life as well, Austin Bradkey, so it really was a dream come true to be signed by Melbourne late last year. Stretch, explodes away, nicely done. Kick just falls short of Smith. Ash tries to tap it towards a teammate's advantage. Garlett, how many times have we seen that? Jeff Garlett, right place, right time, right through the middle.
And we use the term something out of nothing or in 8-goal sense, those sorts of things. He's done that over 300 times at AFL level. Just needs half a chance, half a sniff, a quick look at them. They know where the goals are, these sorts of players. Let's have a closer look at it here. There he is. Found an opening. Didn't appear to be one there, but straight through using his blistering pace and anticipation as well.
He hasn't played an AFL game, Jeff Garlett, for the Demons since round 21 last year, so he missed out on Melbourne's finals campaign. Slow start to this year, but bounced back in round 2 against North Melbourne. 3 goals from 18 touches last week, so he'll be wanting a big afternoon to try and push his case to get back into that AFL side. Jeff Garlett, 29 years of age. Jackson back in the middle. Couldn't find a teammate, though. They're just starting to win the ball out of these stoppages. Well trapped over by Mackenzie. Looking for Rowell on the outer side. Big one-on-one here for Matthew Rowell. He's able to turn Garn inside out. Nicely done. And the hand pass away, and there's some opportunities here for Anderson, who checked his kick. Pickett! Big fly. A tad unrealistic. He had his name written all over it, just couldn't quite complete the juggle. Garlett in board. Worrell will bring it away. Just starting to get their tails up again. Roses this time. He'll fly from behind. Brings it to ground. Well, Buxton couldn't find a teammate. Roses has another chance. Away from the Northern Territory. McDonald arrives, though, for Casey just to clear danger momentarily. Worrell one-on-one with Bradkey. Boundary line beats both of them. Cozzy Pickett, a name to watch. Will he ever come down? So, as you mentioned before, he's the nephew of Byron Pickett. Don't think he's eligible for the Port Adelaide Next Generation Academy. Isaiah Pickett, so might be in the open draft. Mead for Bianco. Worrell pushed off by Neil Bullen. They'll want the boundary line here, Australia, and Young delivers that for them. Casey currently holding a comfortable lead at the moment, 25 points. It's Josh Worrell on screen. Heard from Brad Johnson a little bit earlier on. Impressed with his output so far for Australia. Well, Buxton grabbed it out of the ruck in the end. Fed it out to Tynan. Now Freeman. Spearing ball inside 50. Neil Bullen. Oh, that was really clean from Dylan Williams down back doing some nice work. Off for Stevens. Promising build up here. Green by himself in the middle, and there's 2-on-1 inside 50. One of them is Brian, and it's in his direction. Rose is in the goal square, but Brian will go back and have a set shot. Promising ball movement from Australia.
It's probably their best little passage of play to the minute, that one. Tom Green in the thick of that. He's going to be a terrific player, I think, Tom Green. He's so composed through the midfield. Great set of hands, great vision. And this is big Nick Bryan, all 202 centimetres of him. Again,
He looms as a bit of a genuine draft bolter this year, Nick Bryan, and a really promising start for 2019. And that's a lovely kick as well. Australia with their first goal of the second term.
but that's been a feature of his game too, playing in the NAB League, Nick Bryan. For a boy of that size, he's just hand-to-foot stuff. Just even the little 25-metre, 30-metre kicks have all hit their targets. Just little things like that you notice. You won't miss his jump at centre bounce. He's got a wonderful natural spring. And to see him then push it through from 35 metres out is another string to his bow.
So he wasn't part, as you said earlier, Shifter, of the Under-17s All-Star game on Grand Final Day last year, which actually has really motivated him to improve, and he's done the hard work over the summer, and it's paying dividends early in 2019.
You just have to picture him with another 15 kilos on in 3 or 4 years' time, because that's what you'll get. You'll get the guy that is the right size, the right natural physical attributes to play in the ruck.
Roses on a searching lead, but McDonald, again, just had the maturity and the nous just to know when to get off his man and take that intercept mark. Well played from Oscar McDonald. Again links up with Stretch, who's the leading ball winner on the ground. That's his 14th disposal. Williams, that marking display. Again there for all to see. Got their tails at the moment, Australia. Similar story in the first quarter where they came back late. Stevens inside 50. At the back was Green. Couldn't complete the mark. There's 3 of them around, though. They're starting to apply that defensive pressure, putting the Demons under a bit of siege down in defence. There is Tom Green, attached to that GWS Giants Academy. Seen how big Jacob Hopper stepped up this year for the Giants. Kind of getting similar numbers, Green, to what Hopper was getting in his draft year with big contested ball and big clearance numbers.
Jacob Hopper was part of this program for a number of years as well, a boy from the Riverina of New South Wales. And
here's Kemp, arrives at the right time. Nice composure. Jeremy Sharp in a tough position. Roses has his name on that one. Still an opportunity for Australia. Mead for Rowell. Already got one. And he just can't squeeze through his second. Matthew Rowell peppering the goals at the MCG. Luke Power watching on from the boundary. Jade Rawlings watching on, the Demons coach, from the comfort of the coach's box this afternoon. Australia would love another goal or two just before half-time to make the most of this momentum swing. McDonald's kick just over the head of De Pasquale, but got an accommodating bounce and some space on the outer side. Danger here for Australia. Gould overran the ball, and it really might open up for Casey now. Inside 50, Smith on a searching lead through his hands. Neil Bullen picks up the crumbs and able to dribble it through. Good confidence booster for Alex Neil Bullen. He was dropped after round 3, even though he was among the top 5 pressure small forwards in the competition. Gould just got a shocking bounce. That's just unlucky. The Demons able to pounce. We're talking beforehand, Shifter, how the academy's been going for 22 years, but it's had a bit of a change in structure over the past 6 months or so, where it's a little bit more state-based rather than run from a national perspective.
Yeah, we probably call them the hubs. You know, there's 5 regions now with each of, each with the 50 players that ended up in camps over this particular month. So next weekend, for instance, SA and WA will come together and play 2 matches. Yep. So 50 players in each of the 2 states there, getting some higher level of coaching and opportunity. So it's broadened, and it's not all about just the performance in one game. But right at the minute, these are the best ranked players, but they haven't been prepared as a squad over a period of 2 years, as the last group had been that was headed up by Sam Walsh.
So to a certain extent, team chemistry is something they've really had to build on the past week.
Yes.
Here's Stevens, a minute and a half left remaining. Handball smothered just at the wrong time. Briggs taken high. And we'll have an opportunity to send it inside 50. Slow to get to his feet, so Australia have been able to get numbers back. It's taken a little too high by 2 Aussies there. He's in a bit of trouble as well. Briggs just favouring his right arm as Smith leaps high. Couldn't take the mark. Baker exciting at ground level. Neil Bullen already shown his class this afternoon. Comes back. Tyner's great smother from Bianco, who's been one of the standouts so far. Hoping for Sarong. The kick was weighted well. Great courage from Sarong, from both players, in fact, in that contest. Kilty under pressure. Just see Briggs, your screen there, just struggling a little bit on the bench. Get an update on him soon. As Australia move the ball through the middle. Delahunty takes the mark. One final chance. Jekka has the sit at the back. Can't quite take the mark. Stevens pounced at the right time. Green all class normally. Right towards the top of the goal square. Sarong is there. Nice timely fist from Freeman over the line and out of bounds. So it's been a promising little comeback in the last 10 minutes or so from Australia, but the bigger bodies of Casey just shining through. One, maybe a last opportunity. Rao pounces. Left foot snap towards goal. Sarong chopped it off. And they run out of time in the end. A promising build-up for the Australians on that occasion. They trail by 24 points at half-time of this game at the MCG. Wonderful occasion for both players. We'll be having a good look at how this game has played out right after this